getting from point A to point B is all a common goal we all have, no matter where we are in the U.S. or in the world, whether it be in California, New York, China, Australia, no matter where we are in this world, it's all a common goal we have, using other, different types of transportation. Today I'll be comparing the differences between the East Coast and the West Coast as far as cultural transportation, specifically within New York and California. I've had multiple experiences traveling within California and New York by personal experience, from traveling for vacations or by going with my family for business. No matter what it is, everyone has to use transportation to get from one place to another. Living in Southern California, we all know that we live in a driving-oriented style of living where not everything is close by, where you can walk from city to city or from place to place. Not everything's grouped together like it is in the East Coast. And unlike that, the East Coast, they typically, rather than having commercial cars and for our own personal use, they use their public transportation, mainly, their subway. As well, today I'll be talking to you about the main public transportation in the East Coast, being the metro, and also about the commercial car use we use here in California, as well as some disadvantages between the two. First, I'd like to talk to you about the metro that the New York system uses. Now, the metro is basically, it's a subway using bridges, tunnels, basically a fast way to expedite having traffic and, taxis and that kind of stuff. It's all going in one direction, and there's not multiple trains on one track or traveling at the same time at the same time. Basically, the metro, it all started in 1904 when it was first opened. It was an easy way to get from one side of the city to the next side. As well as it was very cheap, and so it became popular very quickly. Growing from year to year, it's now running 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So no matter what time of the day you're out, you can always get a metro ticket, and you can get to wherever you need to be if you're going out, if you're going home, no matter what. As well as that it was very, very popular for people in business. According to Metropolitan Transportation Authority, actually 7.5 million people used it on a weekday on average in 2011. Just based off of that sheer number, I'm sure that most of you are like, wow, 7.5 million in just one weekday? I mean, that's obviously a lot of people, and it's become extremely popular. I've also been fortunate enough to use the metro system, and it's actually very, very easy to use. I mean, once you kind of get the sense of direction as where you're going to go, what lines you have to use, you have a good idea of where you're going to be going. As well as it's easier. The city's made it extremely easy by using Easy Passes, which are essentially a credit card for the metro system. Basically, you can put a certain amount of money on it, or you can buy like a weekday pass, a month pass, no matter what it is, rather than having to go buy a ticket every single time, worrying about if you have the right kind of money, that kind of things. It just makes it so much easier. You can take it out of your wallet, slip it through the machine, and go on the metro. And once you're inside the system itself, you don't have to keep paying for it. You can transfer from line to line, unless you're getting out and going out into the city and doing something different. Not only does the metro make it easier for getting across the city, it also makes it safer for people. Rather than having to worry about the driving of the people in New York, which tends to be rather crazy, as well as you have all the tourists and people walking on the sidewalk. It's just overall safer for people to travel underground in a confined space. In comparison to New York, California also does have a public transportation system. However, most of us choose not to use it. For us, it makes just more sense to have our own car for the fact of our state is larger, we have everything more spread out, so it's not as easy to get on a subway or something like that, go to a station, and then walk to the nearest place you need to get to. Also, for the fact, just because of our size, our freeways are larger. So because of the amount of cars we have, the freeways are larger, we can get more people can get to one place all at the same time, just based off of the sheer number of lanes. Also, according to the Department of Motor Vehicles in California, California has the most number of registered cars, period. And in 2010, there were over 22 million cars registered as commercial vehicles. Now, that's just a large number just for personal use. That doesn't include business cars, trucks, basically any kind of vehicle that you have to register, boats, that kind of stuff. It's 22 million just for our personal use. As well as California is in the top 20 of gas consumption, as well as car maintenance. Overall, a Californian spends over $500 in 1 month just to maintain their car. Now, in comparison, New York only uses $415 per month. However, that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you think about it, 4 weeks in a month, and you spend, $75 more, per month, that adds up to every year. So, lastly, I want to talk to you about a couple disadvantages that they come with. Using the New York transportation system, the metro, it becomes a problem for the fact that having the metro system, you're stuck on the time of the city. The city gets to choose what times when the trains come into the station, what time they leave, how many are in place. It all just depends on what happens in the city and how they want to choose to use the system. As far as California goes, yes, we're able to get to a certain place when we want to because we're in control of our car. But you have to worry about other drivers, you have to worry about traffic, you have to worry about parking your car, you have to worry about your gas. Overall, it all just adds up into the fact of we have to worry about ourselves and getting to the place we need to get to. Overall, I've shared with you a couple different, about the main type of transportation in New York, as well as the main type of transportation in California being our own cars, as well as a couple disadvantages. So, as you can see here, this is a simple map of rail metroways that New York has. They do have multiple lanes, kind of like our freeways, except it's not freeways. So it's all based through the city, all the metro systems, that kind of thing. So there's a difference from this purple line to the green line, just based off of the sheer direction, as well as like the yellow line. Just even though they look like they're the same, they're completely different because the green line can be going one way and the yellow line can be going in completely opposite direction. And then this is just a basic map of all the freeway systems we have here in California. Now, it doesn't look like they're bigger than the ones in New York, but in New York, most average freeways, they either are toll roads or that they have just like 2 lanes on each side. Whereas, like our 5 freeway, we have, 5 lanes on each side. So it's just a sheer number of difference. And then this is also just a basic simple graph of how much gas consumption we use within California, or just within the United States. Anywhere from on this side, you can see that there's a lot more green. Green means that it's low fuel costs and car maintenance. So, like here in New York, it says it's dark green. Well, dark green says less than $400. Now, this was based off of a study a couple years ago, but you can see most of this area over here, it's all green because of the fact that it's public transportation. Whereas compared to over here, it's you see a lot of reds and oranges, which means it's very, very high cost effective as far as gas. Thank you.
All right, Vance, what did you think?
I thought he had a good opening statement describing his own personal experiences between the East Coast and West Coast transportation. His thesis was laid out pretty clearly. He wanted to introduce that to us. And, he outlines the speech and what he's going to talk about very well. He's giving a lot of good background within the transportation differences, and he uses his own